Donkey Kong Bananza is the greatest DK game ever. That's it. Video's over. What? You want me to go more into it? Okay, fine. Let's do it. Donkey Kong has always been a part of my childhood. In fact, my first ever DK game was Donkey Kong Country Returns. No, the other one. No, the other one. No, the first one. There you go. To say this game means so much to me would be an understatement. This opened my eyes into the world of Nintendo and gaming itself. After Wii Sports, Wii Fit Plus, and Super Mario Galaxy 2. Regardless, that big gorilla has always had a place in my heart. Heck, he's even the reason I made it in my first ever Nintendo commercial for Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D. Yes, that is me. I think it's apparent I need to rethink my life a little bit. For context, we randomly went to Santa Monica Beach that day, and we went to hang out in the pier. So I went to use the bathroom, and lo and behold, I see a giant picture of Donkey Kong from afar. So me being, I think I was like 12 at the time, wanted to go check it out. Then I saw everyone with 3DSs playing the game. Then I heard a cast member next to me say, 3, 2, 1, action. Not a second later, that was one of the greatest days of my life. I even managed to get a Donkey Kong cap out of it, which I still have to this day. Though as you can see, it's not in the greatest condition. But that still was one of the luckiest memories of all time. So you could bet that DK stayed an important figure in my life. So when I saw the E.T. trailer, rest in peace, for Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for the Wii U, I was stoked! Even though I didn't have a Wii U. But of course, I had a second option. I was surfing the web for gameplay, and I had a blast every single time I watched gameplay for that new Donkey Kong game. Then for a while, DK just vanished.
DK has vanished. You must play as Diddy Kong to save him. Oh wait, Diddy Kong's vanished too.
The Nintendo Switch came out, and there wasn't any sign of a new Donkey Kong game anywhere. And no, I'm not exaggerating. The Nintendo Switch does not have one new Donkey Kong game on there. All that we had was new Funky Mode, Donkey Kong Adventure from Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which mind you is a DLC, and the remake from Mario vs. Donkey Kong. It's still crazy to think that the Nintendo Switch is the first Nintendo console to not have a new Donkey Kong game released. Okay, good point. But the fact that a major Nintendo console like the Nintendo Switch didn't have a new Donkey Kong game was not only confusing, it was also frustrating. To those of you who have seen my reactions to the Nintendo Directs on the Trio Brigade channel, you know how many times I got trolled thinking it was a new Donkey Kong game.
Oh, yep, monkey, super monkey ball.
Oh, what? I thought it was Donkey Kong.
No, it's monkey ball.
Oh, I thought it was
Monkey Ball. Okay.
I mean, that's pretty alright. Okay, it's still cool. It's still cool. Okay, I like Super Monkey Ball. Donkey Kong! Donkey Kong! DK! It's gotta be DK! It's DK!
No way.
It's Donkey Kong! Turn! Again! Not again!
Alright, so in these Nintendo Directs, I don't really predict anything much since, I don't want, to have it just not happen. But one thing that I have been hoping for a long time now is a new Donkey Kong game.
No. Watch it be another Mario vs. Donkey Kong. Your new DK game. Yes! I called it!
And perhaps the most infamous one.
Levels are in store.
Oh, dude, they'll probably add the 3DS exclusive one.
3DS.
Probably. Yeah, they did. I mean, that's cool. That's a long way away. Alright, no. New Donkey Kong game. New Donkey Kong game. They're gonna announce it now.
Come on, Nintendo.
One of Donkey Kong and
See?
Diddy Kong's jungle escapades.
They're still talking about Donkey Kong. New Donkey Kong game's coming, dude. Nico, prepare to scream. It's coming.
Please.
It's coming. It's coming. I know it.
Next, please take a look at this.
Yep, new Donkey Kong game.
What is it? Wait.
That
Jeremy?
doesn't look like
This is Donkey Kong!
Donkey Kong.
This is Donkey Kong!
You gotta be kidding me! Oh, here's a fun fact. He hasn't had to do a country in over a decade.
Country Returns HD was like a big punch in the gut, cause yes, the game is amazing. It's my first ever DK game, and that game has a special place in my heart, and it's so fun, it's so great, and it's awesome. And now I can play it on the Switch. But it's still not a new DK! So at that point, I cut my losses and said, screw it. We're obviously not going to get a new Donkey Kong game for the Switch, so how about we wait for the Switch 2 and cross your freaking fingers that there is a new DK game there. The Direct happened, opened up with Mario Kart World, and I know people have their opinions about that game, but the Direct was amazing. All these third parties, how the console acts, I had a blast. Like, we all had a blast there. Like, check it out on the True Brigade channel, link in the description. However, there was one thought in my head that was still looping around. Is there a new Donkey Kong game on the horizon? Would he be the true launch title to the Nintendo Switch 2, other than Mario Kart World? Will he even have a good adventure? Will he be 2D? Will he be 3D? Will there even be a new Donkey Kong game at all? Well,
The last
What is it?
This has to be
How
Mario.
can you beat Kirby Air Ride?
What is this?
is it?
If this is Mario, then
Wait,
I'm gonna
this
be
DK?
extremely surprised. Wait, it could be DK.
No, there's
Nico,
no way
did you
this
say that
DK.
because there's a minecart?
I mean,
Wait.
Oh no.
It's looking
This ain't
kind of.
DK.
Oh my gosh,
This ain't
is
DK.
it? There's monkeys. There's monkeys.
It's DK! It's DK!
Oh my gosh!
It's DK!
No! No way!
It might be DK. It
It's
might
DK!
be
Nico, you are.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Shopping in a corner today.
You
Oh
are-
my god!
As you can clearly see, I said it's alright! Donkey Kong Bananza! For years, I have been dreaming about how a new 3D Donkey Kong game would go. They tried once with Donkey Kong 64, and while I haven't played it yet, the game has mixed reviews. But the question still stood. What if Donkey Kong had another shot at the world of 3D? And so many ideas were looming around in my head. But you know what I thought would be the craziest title for a new Donkey Kong game? If there's Donkey Kong Country, why don't they call it Donkey Kong Continent? Meh, name's good enough for me. So when I saw it was a new 3D Donkey Kong, I was double hyped. The fact that this was by the same team that made Super Mario Odyssey, who also made the Galaxy games and started off by making Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, which by the way, is super underrated, not by a landslide, but still underrated. The fact that we came full circle is crazy to think about. So I had faith that this game would be amazing. But would this be the one DK game that would be considered the greatest DK game ever? Yes, it is. You literally saw the title. But what you may not know is why this game is the greatest DK game ever. Well, I am here to share it. This video will be put into chapters, and this video will start off with no endgame content, but then later on, we'll be talking about that as well. So if you want to avoid the whole video because of that, then go play the game and finish it first before you watch this video. But if you've done that, or if you're not able to get a Switch 2 and want to see what this game is about, grab a banana, grab a DK plushie, turn your autism on like I always do, because we yearn for long videos like these. And be prepared to combine your power and show us what you got! The story! If there's one thing Nintendo games don't have the biggest focus on, it's their story. Obviously, the RPGs are an exception that flesh out the characters a bit more. Mario has been getting better with its storytelling and character development, at least in the 3D games, and DK has pretty much been the same. Usually, it gives you a reason to play the game, like get your bananas back, save DK, again, but free save Diddy. Yeah. Save the island, get the bananas back. Save the island. Wait a minute. So yeah, DK isn't the best when it comes to story. But that makes up for it in wonderful gameplay and amazing level design, which makes it even better when the story is great here. The basic premise of it is Donkey Kong and some of his monkey friends, well, I assume that they're friends, decide to go to Ingot Isle and mine for some gold and bananas. Those plans were thwarted until all the bananas got stolen by the Void Company, and DK gets sent further back underground and finds an odd rock that he teams up with that needs help getting back to the surface, in which that odd rock is later revealed to be Pauline, who is 13 in this game apparently. So DK and Pauline must team up to find the Bananium root, which can grant any wish presented to it. DK just wants bananas. But Pauline needs to go back to the surface after being kidnapped by the Void Company, who their goal is to also get the Bananium root. They've been taking over all the layers in the ground, and it's up to DK and Pauline to save the layers and get that Bananium root. Yeah, more complex than your average Nintendo story. I personally like this, because not only does it give you more of a reason to play the game, but it fleshes out the characters more and really makes you enjoy the characters presented here, which we'll talk about later. However, we can't move on talking about this game until we talking about the question a lot of us asked the second we saw Kid Pauline. And that's the timeline! Alright, I need you guys to strap in for this one because it's time for Pierce Theory! No, we're not, no. So when Donkey Kong Country was released, it was revealed that Cranky Kong was the original Donkey Kong, in which this Donkey Kong would be Donkey Kong the Third, and Donkey Kong Jr. would be the second Donkey Kong. That all makes sense, right? So why is Pauline a kid in this if she's in Donkey Kong? And Mario's there as well, but he's still the way he is? Huh? Well, believe it or not, this may shock you, but the reason actually makes sense. This is because throughout the game, Pauline talks about her grandma a lot in the game whenever you sleep. That may just seem like some throwaway lines, but if you really think about it, if Cranky Kong is DK's grandpa, then that has to mean that lady is Pauline's grandma, which is why Pauline doesn't freak out when she sees Cranky for the first time. But what about Ma? Well, as we know, Mario in Donkey Kong is called Jumpman, and Nintendo has stated in the past that Jumpman and Mario are the same character. But is that true now? Personally, I have always had the theory that Jumpman was Mario's father. But that theory is now out the window because Mario's dad is sorta canon now. Because again, the movies are different from the games, but it has always been deconfirmed that he isn't his father. But what if Jumpman is Mario's grandfather? You may think I'm crazy for saying this, but one of the bonus rooms you do in the game has the title Jumping Like Jumpman. Say I'm looking too into this, but if you wanted to keep that idea of Jumpman and Mario being the same character, then they would have to have said Mario instead of Jumpman. So if all these characters are the grandparents of these characters, then the timeline would actually make sense. Speaking of which, this game takes place after the country games, and considering some of the stuff you find later in the game, I would also say it takes place after 64. However, Professor Chop
Alright, now we'd steal from Nick specifically.
is on a fossil in the game, so maybe it would take place after Returns, Tropical Freeze, one of those. Despite that, the most important thing to note is that this game takes place before Super Mario Odyssey, obviously. Are Mario and Pauline both 13 in this game? Probably, can't say for sure, but let's just assume that to be the case for simplicity. So to sum it up, there's the Yoshi games, or at least the Island games, the DK games, and then the Mario games. Then the Olympic Games! So I personally feel like that's the only way all of this can work. I'm honestly glad it's not some time travel bullcrap because we all know that can mess everything up real quick. Now you're probably saying, Nico, why did you go so deep into this? Pause! It's a Nintendo game, it ain't that deep. And my question to you is, I don't know, why did you watch me do it? Anyways, with that little clarification out the way, let's really get into this thing. Pause! Let's go ahead and talk about Gameplay! If there's one thing Nintendo is known for to make sure that they get down more than their prices, it's their gameplay. If your gameplay is bad, then there's no game. No amount of cutscenes, songs, characters can save it. I have talked about my fair share of bad gameplay in video games before, so the gameplay had to be good in this game. It was so freaking fun. Getting able to control DK in a 3D environment and have it feel this good is nothing short of amazing. When playing Donkey Kong Country Returns, DK felt good to control, but there was a weight to him admittedly. Not a bad thing, it didn't disrupt the gameplay, just the jumps felt realistic in a sense, which is fine. But DK here feels so much better to control. Yes, he has weight to him, but he's also light at the same time. This really helps when you're trying to traverse your way through the environment. Which, speaking of, DK's punches are so freaking satisfying. Being able to punch through everything makes it seem like this is a Jungle Beat 2. This is the perfect moveset for DK. Everything feels smooth, and surprisingly, every button is used in this game. I'm not joking when I say that. You'll be using every single button in this game. So if your A button isn't working, you better hope that your controller has a GL button, otherwise you'd be doing a jumpless run.
No.
DK's gameplay is amazing, and it's even better when Pauline is added to the mix. Pauline can help you find things, break Void's creations, and help you transform into your Bananza! Bananzas are one of the most fun parts of this game. You could transform into Kong Bananza, Zebra Bananza, Ostrich Bananza, and surprisingly, you're able to transform into 2 more Bananzas that wasn't shown in the direct. In which, if you don't want to see those 2, then this is just going to be a teeny tiny spoiler, but after that, it'll still be spoiler free after we get into all the other stuff, so skip to right about here just to be safe. And just in case, I'll put a timer for when it'll actually show. Each Bananza power grants you an ability that you'll need to use throughout your journey. Kong Bananza can help you throw stronger punches and break through stronger blocks. Zebra Bananza can help you dash faster, and if upgraded, run over water. Ostrich Bananza can help you fly and glide through the air, and if upgraded, drop eggs. And the 2 surprise Bananzas, Snake and Elephant. Snake can help you jump higher in the air and slow down time, and Elephant is the most broken Bananza in the game. Why? Because it can suck on any terrain, and able to throw chunks at anything. If by any chance you need to grind for anything in this game, then Elephant Bananza is the way to go. Literally, if you want to destroy an entire layer, then Elephant will get the job done the fastest. I guess my only complaint with Elephant is that I keep finding myself singing
Ralph, Ralph, Wreck-It Ralph.
I don't want to be the bad guy.
Turbotastic! Ralph, Ralph, Wreck-It Ralph.
I don't want to be the bad guy.
Turbotastic! Ralph, Ralph, Wreck-It Ralph.
I don't want to be the bad guy.
Turbotastic! Ralph, Ralph, Wreck-It Ralph.
I don't want to be the bad guy.
Turbotastic!
It's been getting in my head a bit too much. And yes, before you guys ask, I am aware Silver Gunner came through and gave us Anyways,
Oh, hey!
You're back from No Spoiler Street. We were just talking about some of the music that could be found in the Bananza forms. Which, by the way, they freaking slap. Each song is so freaking catchy, and even though it's sung in either gibberish or a language I don't understand, it will still have you singing along. Just listen to these. But my absolute favorite Bananza theme has to be the ostrich. Like, it's so fast paced and it really makes you break it down on the dance floor. Like, oh my goodness, this one is so good. In terms of which one would be your favorite to use, I wouldn't say there are any bad ones, but I definitely say that there are ones you'd use more than others, which is okay. Each one has its own use, and you're able to decide which one is the best to use in that situation and jam out to the music. Speaking of... the music! I don't think you guys understand. From the jump, DK has always had bangers. Even in the original arcade game, that little jingle has been stuck in your head and continues to be till the end of time. So when the great David Wise came in and composed music for the Country series, that was even more great for DK! Especially since we got treated to the best DK song ever created. Yeah, y'all know the one I'm talking about. Everybody, all together! I'm not joking when I say that DK has always been great when it comes to its music. They literally had Grant Kirkhope compose music for DK at a time. Heck, he even voiced DK and gave us the iconic OK! So if the music in this game was garbage, everyone would riot. Thankfully, the music in this game is great. Each song really brings each layer to life. Not just for the layers themselves, but for each scenario. There are more ambient songs for that more mysterious factor, more high energy songs for bosses, and of course, for bonanzas. But I really gotta hand it to the music used in the cutscenes. Those really amplified the story being shown to you. There were literally times where I felt like I was watching a Pixar film, like the music was just that good. It's orchestrated, it's catchy, and overall, it's a really great soundtrack. But of course, you can't get a new DK game without remixing this absolute banger. Yes, they even remixed some old DK songs in this game, like Jungle Hijinks and even a bit of the DK rap.
DK, Donkey Kong, DK, Donkey Kong is here.
What other songs did they remix? Well, that's for you to figure out, my friends, because it'll leave you surprised. However, we can't leave this chapter without talking about the game's main song, Heart of Gold. Now, I rarely shed tears, so when I completed the game, heard the song, and really listened to the lyrics, it almost made me shed a tear. Almost. I feel like Earl said it best.
It's enough to make a grown man cry. And that's okay.
Jenny Kidd did such an amazing job singing this song, and really made Pauline a much better character than she was. The song is beautiful, the singing is beautiful, and this song better be sung at the Game Awards, as that's one of the things I need to have there. Other than have Statler and Waldorf return.
There's Kojima, look! Did you know that Jeff Keighley's friends with him?
Yeah, but does Kojima know that?
Seriously, these characters were perfect for the Game Awards. And speaking of characters... the characters! Let's face it, Donkey Kong has some amazing characters. When Rare was working on the Country series, they managed to create some super memorable characters in their own right, like Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, Cranky Kong, Candy Kong, Funky Kong, and many, many, many more. After the Microsoft buyout, Nintendo managed to keep the rights of all the characters from the Donkey Kong series, which is why they continue to make appearances in future titles. When it comes to Jungle Beat, yes, some of the Kongs there are memorable, but there isn't much of their character other than, "Oh, me big, me beat you, ho, ho, oh." Thankfully, when Retro stepped up to the mantle, they continued making their cast of memorable characters, like the Tiki Tak Tribe and the Snowmads. So how would the characters be in this game? Well, let's start off with our leads. First off, the notorious DK! DK is back and better than ever. But before anything else, let's talk about his redesign. Now, his design is supposed to resemble more of his original artwork, while still maintaining that rare look. I gotta say, I love this redesign. Yes, admittedly it took some time getting used to, but with how expressive he is, it grew on me very quickly. One of the things I don't think is talked about enough is despite him not having much dialogue vocally, He can still talk in this game, which is something not a lot of people know about DK. They just assume that he goes, which yes, he can at times, but he can also talk. He just doesn't say many words. I view it as he's one of those characters who can talk, but just chooses not to. Kind of like Mario in a sense. But him talking aside, DK is the star, and he makes it known. He's funny, charming, and an absolute beast. You'll find him so good that it may even sway Dashi into liking him. If you know, you know. Now let's talk about the one that he teams up with, Pauline. Okay, I got a quick confession to make. I do like Pauline. However, I think her only character trait of her singing kind of overstayed its welcome for me. Wait. Put your pitchforks down. Let me explain. I'm not saying it made her a bad character. It's just, she had a major comeback after the Mario vs. Donkey Kong series after being a second Peach. In which, to some, she still was. But her role in Odyssey was fantastic. The mayor of New Donk City, an excellent singer, that really solidified her back into the world of Mario. So why do I say her singing made her overstay her welcome? Well, most notably, that's all she did. Sure, she showed up in sports games, and we all know our favorite Mario sports game is Mario Strikers Battle League. Yeah, we love free updates for a barren game! Yeah! But it really made her not that interesting afterwards. I am so glad that I can take that back now. Yes, she still sings, but her singing is an actual power now. Not just a power, but it's part of her story too. One of Pauline's biggest wishes is to be able to sing for an audience. This adventure helps her figure that out and how to do that. She's kind of similar to Cappy in terms of how she tells you to do everything, but she actually has a backstory that can actually redefine her character and expand the story. Also, the fact that she's the only character in this game to have full-on dialogue in terms of voice acting is something that I think Mario and DK games should have. Like, if the Void Company had voice actors for each language in their respective countries, that would be one of the greatest things ever, because I feel like these characters would benefit from it. But before we segue into that, DK and Pauline's friendship in this game is so wholesome. It's so wonderful how much care they put in for each other, and destroys the notion that DK doesn't have a heart, which surprisingly some people think he's just, banana, destroy! No, he actually cares about Pauline in this game. And that really makes you care for them both when they're trying to stop the Void Company, which, by the way, is an underrated villain group. The Void Company consists of Grumpy Kong, Poppy Kong, and Void Kong. Throughout my playthrough, I managed to really like these characters. It's crazy how I actually enjoyed villain Kongs when they didn't get much recognition elsewhere. Let's start with Grumpy Kong. He is in charge of creating all these bosses for you to beat, and as the name implies, he's grumpy. Not cranky, there's a difference. Throughout the fights, you'll see that he's surprisingly fair after you beat him in a boss. If you win, he gives you the prize, believe it or not. And no, it's not really in a way of, oh, I'll get you next time. No, he's a good sport about it, shockingly. And that's similar towards Poppy Kong. Now, when I first saw Poppy Kong, my first thought was, she want to be Candy Kong so badly, you ain't Candy! But after playing, she's actually a really funny character. Not funny in the sense where she's goofy, but in the sense where she's actually relatable at times. At one point, you ask her to fight again after a battle, and she's like, I don't get paid overtime, just go. Which honestly, a lot of people are going to relate to. But why are they so adamant of just letting you get away like this? Well, it's because of the main antagonist, Void Kong. Void is like if you mix this character with a monkey and Dr. Eggman. Like, he is funny and actually a very fun character. I found myself doing an impression of him as I played, and it was actually super fun to do that. He's just the right amount of stubborn, and he can actually be a threat, considering he's a president, so that tells you everything you need to know about him. Void is honestly an underrated Nintendo villain. It could be because he just debuted, but I can see him getting quite the fan base. Sort of. I'll mention that later. But on the topic of the Kongs, some Kongs actually return in this game. Pretty much Diddy, Dixie, and Cranky all return. Cranky Kong is basically the Captain Toad of this game. Him and Rambi. He'll tell you about his travels in cranky fashion, put a pin in that, and him and Rambi go on their own quest. And that's an easy banana for you. Diddy and Dixie, on the other hand, have their own layer where you can race with them, which is honestly the closest thing we're going to get to a Diddy Kong Racing 2 or the canceled Donkey Kong Racing. I really enjoy their dynamic here and how much they reflect on their journeys in previous games. Heck, even Candy Kong is mentioned, which is shocking. In terms of the layer itself, I enjoyed it, but it was pretty short. Not a big deal. Sometimes you want something small after all the big exploration stuff, but I think they should have been utilized a bit more. Regardless, it's such a welcome addition. Now for a bit more than new characters. There are the Elders, which is how you get your Bananzas, and they were surprisingly really charming and got a chuckle out of me when doing the tutorials. There are also NPCs you'll find throughout the game, the most common being the Fractones. Rock creatures that really feel like they came straight out of a Rare game. Like, this really screams Rare right in your face. They actually give some pretty important info, or just there for some witty banter, which is always welcome. The NPCs here were given pretty fun characters, and it's funny when they're going on about their day and you just destroy whatever they're doing and they're just like, oh, okay, I didn't need that anyway. You of course have your enemies, which are just skeletons covered in rocks, sand, or whatever the environment contains, and they're just so satisfying to destroy. Some enemies require you to use your brain, which I enjoy for a game like DK where you can't always go full stupid, full smash. That's especially proven in a part of the game that can really take the quality of the game anywhere. And that has to be
the bosses!
Before I get into the bosses of this game, I need to talk about bosses in general. Bosses can really make or break your game in a sense. It doesn't matter how good your game is, if the bosses suck, the game can suffer with it too. Case in point, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. That game is beautiful, fun, and a great play all around. The bosses though, suck banana! Seriously, all of it is just Bowser Jr., a conveyor belt, and Bowser. Yeah, my favorite boss, a conveyor belt! So freaking awesome! Thankfully, DK tends to be really good when it comes to the boss department. The bosses aren't your usual hit 3 times and you win bosses. They usually take about 9 hits. But they tend to be a bit tricky at times, and that's what I've been hoping for when playing this game. In the case of Jungle Beat, since DK's moveset is similar from there, I was curious how the bosses would play out. Would it be you actually fight the bosses like this, or more of a platform style? Well, you actually get a bit of both in this game. You attack with a bunch of punches, but there are platforming segments in there too. However, I don't know if this is because I am a king of skill. Do it again. But these bosses were scarily easy. Sure, it took a bit to understand the mechanics, but once you did, all you gotta do is use your Bananza and you win. Now, because this is made by the Odyssey team, they always sneak in a speedrun strat when you're fighting a boss, and this game is the same thing. However, even without the speedrun strats, fighting these bosses range from cakewalk to cakewalk, but a bit tricky. Now that doesn't make the bosses bad, no, they're still fun to fight. I wasn't expecting a giant difficulty when fighting bosses, but I also didn't expect them to be like, that easy either. Regardless, the bosses are still very creative, and there's still more of them than the conveyor belt here. And they're super fun and satisfying to beat, especially if you figure out their mechanics. However, the bosses still remain relatively easy. Except
the spoilers.
Alrighty, I pretty much said everything that I needed to say for this game, non-spoiler wise. This game is beautiful. This game is fun. This game is charming. And it is the best DK game ever made. 10 out of 10, go play it now. Okay, now is your chance to turn this video off and go play the game. To increase your security of avoiding spoilers, turn off social media, turn off YouTube, ironically while watching this YouTube video. And it sucks that I have to say this, but don't check your emails. And for goodness sake, do not send people spoilers. Like, what the heck is so hard about this? As long as you take those measures, you should be okay. Oh, and before you potentially go, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more content. I want to see if it's possible if we can get to 1K subs before the end of 2025. So let's see if we can make it happen. Okie dokie, bye-bye now. Are they gone? Okay, great. For those of you who are still here, I'm going to give you one last chance to leave if you don't want to be spoiled by anything. I didn't put any hints in the thumbnail, none in the description, heck, not even in this segment. So after this point, it's on you. So if you're one of those people still here who don't want to get spoiled, you should skedaddle right now. Yeah, I see you. Go along, run along, run along, run along. Okay, everyone here? Great. Now with that said, first, I want to head back to the Void Company. The reason I bring them up is because I want to talk about a certain villain I like in media. And that's what's known as a twist villain. A twist villain is a villain that has the motives of a villain, but they keep it hidden throughout until their big reveal. If done right, they can have their time to shine being a villain unmasked. But other times, they only get like 5 minutes. But what makes a twist villain good is that they have to have a reason to be one, and their desires have to be realistic. Otherwise, you get something like this one line that many know, say it with me now, that was his mistake. Surprisingly though, I haven't seen that many twist villains in video games. I'm not saying there aren't any, because I can guarantee that there are, there's not many I hear being named. So why do I bring up twist villains then? Well, one of these characters are a twist villain. That's right, even in the world of Donkey Kong, there can be a twist villain. But who? Who here's the twist? You might be thinking it's Grumpy. Maybe he wants the president role to himself, which is why he's so skilled in building things. Nope, that's not it. You see, Grumpy Kong actually says,
"Screw that frickin' Boots the Monkey Wolverine, mother sucker,"
and eventually switches teams and becomes cool with you in the end. So it's probably Poppy Kong, right? Nope, wrong again, because Poppy eventually drops Void and even cuts ties with Void after her constant failures. And even praises us for her skill and also switches teams. She's even kind enough to call us darling. So maybe the twist is none other than Super Mario himself. If you actually thought that, especially after playing the Mario games, then you are freaking stupid. So that must mean it's none other than Void Kong himself. Considering he is already the main antagonist, he must be the twist villain, yes? After all, King Candy is a twist villain, and he was already established as a villain, so it could be something like that, right? No. Not even close. Oh, you're surprised it's none of the Kongs? No. I said one of these characters are the twist, not one of these Kongs. Even before the game was released, I manifested, dreamed, hoped, and knew that there was only one character who would be the perfect twist villain for a game like this. And if you have finished the game already, or if you sadly got spoiled before the release of this video because of those stupid people who spoiled the game before it's even released, you know exactly who I'm talking about. The reason why there is an entire chapter dedicated to this twist villain. It's not Grumpy, it's not Poppy, and it's not even Void, but rather someone who DK knows, and let's just say, it is his finest hour.
The twist.
DK Rule is back! I am so freaking glad that I didn't get spoiled of this, because if I did, I would literally be so freaking mad. Like, seriously, no. Let's pause for a bit. To all the people who spoiled it for other people, what is wrong with you? Number one, why are you posting your final boss playthroughs before the game is even released? Number two, how are you even posting your final boss playthroughs before the game is even released? Number three, why are you putting it in the thumbnails with no proper warning, and when people call you out on it, you deflect saying, oh, no one will figure it out. Like, We're not stupid! If you take a screenshot of the game and blur it, we can see the color and figure out who it is. If you put in the title, we know who it is. If you place a black silhouette of a character with a question mark on it, we know who it is. If people call you out for spoiling, number 1, stop spoiling, and number 2, take the L and fix the spoilers so no one else gets spoiled, like what I did. I didn't put any hints in the thumbnails or description, and I made it very clear what the spoilers are going to be so people don't click on them.
Shame on all the people who spoiled this game for everybody. Like, you guys make me just...
Now, with that said,
King K. Rool!
Holy crap! I popped off so freaking hard when I saw him pop out. Like, I was laughing, screaming, hyperventilating, all of that sort. My boy is freaking back! Let me just say, this is one of the greatest redesigns of a character I have ever seen. It's similar to his Smash Bros render, but it also follows the size of a 64 model, and even gives him his long tail back, which has been inconsistent in other games. But like, look at this freaking beast! Like, that right there is the face of, oh yeah,
You know it's me.
like, King K. Rool didn't just come back with the milk. He came back with the cows who made the milk. King K. Rool is not just a villain now. He is a twist villain. But you're probably saying, Nico, you're just biased towards King K. Rool. How is he a good twist villain? Well, first off, screw you! Second off, let's evaluate. Like I stated before, a good twist villain is a villain that keeps his motive and gets time to shine as a villain, which he does get to do and we'll discuss later. But a twist villain has to make you ask an important question and say an important sentence. The question you should be asking is, they're the bad guy? But you should also be saying, I should have known they were the bad guy. If you could say both those things, you yourself have a good twist villain. But you're probably saying, well, I asked the first question, but I didn't say the sentence. What would make me want to say the sentence? Well, the answer is simple. The game gives you the clues. The first clue are the crocoids. When you hear the name Crocodile and Donkey Kong, you think of the Kremlings, yes?
My name's Crunch. We know.
So why are these crocodile skeletons? Skeletons? No. This is Halloween. This is hot. Stop. Skeletons, not skeletons. Well, it turns out these skeletons are the skeletons of the critters. K. Rool and his Kremling crew went down to the planet core long before DK and Void, and they all got trapped down there. So obviously, some critters died in the process, and Void used their remains to create the crocoids, which is honestly kinda dark if you think about it. The second clue is Cranky Kong. Throughout your journey, Cranky Kong talks about finding a rotten crook, and each has a description of who he's trying to find. At first glance, you gloss over it, because he's repeating the same dialogue every single time. But each time he talks about a certain trait the crook has, the craziest thing is the dialogue makes you believe he's talking about Void Kong. Because the traits that Cranky talks about can also apply to Void, as in his crooked grin, wild eyes, pathetic tail, fires projectiles as his main attack, everything of that sort. However, there is one bit of dialogue that actually isn't referring to Void. Cranky says,
Oh, what a rotten crook. He thinks he's such a big shot, flaunting his mindless flunkies everywhere he goes.
wait a minute. Void doesn't do that. He's selfish and he doesn't have a company to flaunt, especially since they both turn on him, so who is Cranky talking about? That's right, none other than King K. Rool himself. Cranky was on him from the get-go, and yet you think he's talking about Void because the descriptions are so vague and yet match both of their personalities perfectly. Yet, when Cranky mentions the fiend behind all these banana burglaries, he's not mentioning the ones by the Void Company, he's mentioning K. Rool, since his first attack was him literally stealing DK's banana hoard. It's really crazy when you read this for a second time knowing everything. The third clue is just how he's simply mentioned. In the racing layer, Dixie Kong mentions the event of DKC1 and DKC2. and how they work together with DK. They didn't mention K. Rool by name, but DK, at least during the retro era, never even mentioned K. Rool at all, because apparently, we don't need K. Rool. We'll see him 4 years from now in Tropical Freeze! He has to show up to that. The fourth hint is when the Fractones mention someone breaking in through the Forbidden Layer and reaching the planet core, and yet have never returned. Later on in the game, they outright tell you they were talking about K. Rool, which honestly is a really good touch. Now this may be a stretch, but the fifth clue is the abundance of treasure chests found throughout the layers. As we know, King K. Rool was once a pirate, and he used the Gangplank Galleon to get around. So don't you think it's a bit strange how there are so many treasure chests around? Again, that one may be a stretch. However, the sixth and most surprising hint is not even in the game. It's in the Donkey Kong Bananza Direct. Yes, even in their own Direct, they showed a hint that King K. Rool was the villain. And that's with the amiibo section. It shows you that there is a DK and Pauline amiibo, which is pretty cool by the way, but then they show you that other DK amiibos will be accessible, including K. Rool. Now this one requires more of manifesting than anything, but don't you think it would be a bit strange if they offered a K. Rool amiibo to show and not have K. Rool in the game?
Coincidence? I think not!
But to top it off, there's a hint it's K. Rool before his reveal. You see, when you reach the Banandium route, you see it looks a bit strange. Some of the bananas there are rotten. It's surrounded with an eerie green fog, and that giant bulge looks like golden armor in an Audi. But you don't get time to process it because Void is already there and ready to fight. Void is surprisingly easy, but he has a bit of a challenge to him as expected. But as DK gets turned into an Oddrock himself and Pauline frees him by going Super Saiyan, Void pushes past the two and thinks he's going for the root, until... Again, I'm surprised that he survived that. The twist works so well here because K. Rool is a distraction twist villain. This is very similar to Monsters Inc., where Randall is shown to be the villain very quickly until you see Mr. Waternews is also a part of it. And it is an even bigger villain than Randall. Like he said it himself,
I'll kidnap 1,000 children before I let this company die.
It's literally the same here, except K. Rool does the DDD method and claps him out of here. Now he's the villain of the story now. Now does he get more than 5 minutes to show his villainous ways? Man, you have no idea. First off, the fact that the entire planet core is dedicated to the old DK fans, with its K. Rool statue, the Critters, Claptraps, the Neckies, the Zingers, Armies, and even Kaboom makes an appearance here. The only ones who I'm surprised are absent are Crush and Clump. I really wish they were added, cause having the only Kremlins mentioned be Critter, Claptrap, and Kaboom are amazing. Crush and Clump would have been amazing additions to this. Oh well, alas, this will have to do. Because let me tell you, King K. Rool gave us one of the greatest finales in Nintendo game history. And no, I'm not joking when I say that. Call me biased if you want to. This is peak. First of all, his entire wish is surprisingly pretty dark for King K. Rool. He wants to turn the entire world into rotten banana mush so he can eat it all, which actually solidifies K. Rool liking bananas, but only when they're overripe and rotten. So when he uses the power to turn into this? You can tell things are about to get real. Let me start off by saying King K. Rool is one of the only difficult bosses in the game, but his patterns are easy to learn as they're callbacks to his previous attacks. The blunderbuss, the high jumps despite being super fat, and even throws in new ones with his Banandium powers. And let me say, he looks freaking amazing here. He has just the right amount of goofy and menacing in this game. And they did my boy justice. So let's beat him. King K. Rool gets defeated, DK and Pauline make their wish, and then the game is over. Let's be honest, this is the best callback to a character anyone could make. Everyone who has played Donkey Kong Country knows that whenever you see this credit sequence, you know you're not fighting K. Rool one time, you're fighting him a second time. You know, it took me a bit to admit this, but I think this version of Gangplank Galleon slightly beats the Smash Ultimate version of this song. Cause in that, it's a high energy celebration of K. Rool returning, but this is a high energy celebration of K. Rool returning in a Donkey Kong game. So they made sure you know that King K. Rool is not playing around. This fight shows more of his goofy side, as he's desperately trying to get you to stop flying up to the surface, and is refusing to be the loser again. If there's one thing K. Rool does, he learns from his mistakes. He captured the Banana Horde and DK stopped him, so he kidnapped DK, but was stopped by Diddy. So he kidnapped DK and Diddy, but was stopped by Dixie. So K. Rool decides to get rid of DK's island altogether, in which he fails. So here, he decides to get rid of the whole world. And to add insult to injury, he wants to eat it all.
Oh, he's trying to eat me.
So what happens when he does reach the surface? Well, you end up in New Donk City, confirming this to be a prequel. So where's K. Rool now? Well, let's just say he's about to prove that he truly is a freaking king. This sequence is literally the greatest chase sequence I have ever played. K. Rool literally takes over New Donk City, changing it with his new logo, which, cross your freaking fingers, could lead to DLC of him in Mario Kart World. Please, Nintendo, I want to play as K. Rool in Mario Kart World, please! Posters literally telling you King K. Rool is back, critters celebrating on the TVs, and the mush rising, and everything attacking you all at once. Holy crap, this segment is amazing! But if you thought that was amazing, wait until you enter the ring, similar to the one in Donkey Kong 64. And for the first time, fight K. Rool for a third time in the same game. Golly! This is by far the sickest K. Rool design ever. K. Rool cranks his attacks up to 1,000. And this time, he wants you dead. Not injured, not captured, not even transported away. Transported? What? No. Transported. Because that sounds so much more cooler. He wants you dead. And believe me, this boss is actually difficult. I actually died a few times playing this boss, which has never happened to me in the boss before. He was the final boss, and he made it known, which makes you defeating him all the more satisfying. the city returns to normal, the Banania mush goes away, and both DK and Pauline's wishes are granted. So, what happens then?
The finale.
Oh, right. DK stream.
Pauline gets her wish granted. She's now back home and wishes to sing for everyone in the city. She asks DK to go with her, and DK does oblige until his wish is granted, which is a bunch of bananas. Pauline is happy, then realizes that if she asks DK to go with her, then his dreams won't be fulfilled. So she lets him go.
DK! Sorry, forget what I said before. You have to make your dreams come true.
That is honestly one of the most mature things I have seen in a Nintendo game, let alone a DK game. You love a person so much that you don't want to hold them back from their dreams, so you let them go. DK thinks about it, of course goes back to bananas, but then wants to go with Pauline again. But she insists he goes and lives his dreams. So in DK fashion, he runs off into the sunset, Pauline sheds a tear and says goodbye, and that is Donkey Kong Bananza. However, something really cool is brought up. The adventure continues 3 months later. DK is back in the mine, swinging his fist from side to side. I'm sorry, I'll stop. Now he's back in Ingot Oil! And goes to talk to Grumpy Kong, who is now on your side. And he's built a warp gong, which reveals Pauline! Again! This time, she's performing for City Hall, and wants to come back to find inspiration. So DK agrees to help her find the elders and learn new things about what song she should sing. So that unlocks the rehearsals, which are pretty much the challenge levels of this game. Each Bananza power is used for each challenge, and it really tests your skills. If you're not trying to get the balloons, this should be challenging for you, but relatively straightforward. You will die a couple times, sometimes in annoying spots, but you'll still be able to do it. At that point, if you get 700 bananas and beat all rehearsals, then you have to go back to the surface and go through the same credit scene with Pauline, but this time going up. And you're greeted with a familiar image. But what if you want to go further than that? In the base game, there are 777 bananas to collect, and 696 fossils. Nice. But really, the 777 bananas are the ones on the list. The real number of bananas you need to collect is a whopping 1,000. Mind you, Odyssey has 880 moons to collect, so this blows Mario out of the water by a landslide. However, 333 bananas are from using Bananium chips to get bananas. And if you need to grind for those, remember, elephant or attack enemies. They will always give you chips. Once that's done, you get back to the core and head back to the surface one last time. And you get Pauline performing for not just the city, but for all the creatures you encountered. And that is Donkey Kong Bananza. This was one of the greatest games I have ever played. Ever! This is definitely a contender for Game of the Year. Will it win? I'm not sure. There might be a game out there that I haven't heard about that will probably be better than this, but this is my Game of the Year for right now. I am so happy I got to play this without spoilers, and able to 100% it in the span of 55 hours. Don't worry, I took breaks in between. But seriously, if you haven't picked up this game, go play it. And if you have, recommend it to a friend, or even your enemy, and they will probably become your friend after that. I don't know. I don't know your relationships. Regardless, I love Donkey Kong. I love this game. And this is why Donkey Kong Bananza is the greatest Donkey Kong game ever.
Now what?
KK rule for Mario Kart World, please! Oh! What is this? What if Donkey Kong Bananza had voices? Void Company dub? So, that Void Kong thinks he can get 6.3k views in under 7 days? Do you know what that means? Thanks for watching! Oh, and one more thing! If you enjoyed that barrel of fun video, well, the click of this playlist up here to check out some more great videos from the channel. And if you want to subscribe, click right here, or click the big subscribe button at the bottom. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time!